Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, debt slaves, search, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Elliot. Welcome. And so, in a new interview with Zelensky, president of the Ukraine, or Ukraine as they prefer now, I guess, he's come out and said that he doesn't know where all the money went. And he's claiming that of the so-called $180 billion that America has given to Ukraine, that he can only account for something like 75 billion, which leaves roughly 100 billion unaccounted for. And there's a number of reasons for that. Another story that came out recently makes a lot of sense as well, and that Zelensky is correct in some ways. And the report came out that the Biden administration failed to fully track all weapons going to the Ukraine, partially because different military departments have different ideas of what delivered means. And so we have the likelihood that a lot of these weapons just cannot be tracked, and therefore Zelensky is correct in some sense that he doesn't really know where that money went, and neither does the United States government. And then another part of the story, of course, is that USAID, a lot of that money was going to Ukraine, and in fact, USAID money apparently financed the coup in 2014 in Ukraine to the tune of $5 billion. And so that's a separate story, of course, the dismantling of USAID by the Trump administration. But the dismantling of USAID is definitely going to cut off a lot of funds going to the Ukraine. And 90% of Ukraine media has been paid for by USAID. And so all the opposition media in Ukraine has been outlawed. And then all these state propaganda vehicles run by Ukraine now are 90% funded by USAID. And as we know, a lot of the money that goes to Ukraine goes to support all their social systems, their pensions, their civil servant payments, their power grids. It goes to pay for everything. And so now we have this announcement by Trump that they're going to put a 90-day hold on any more support to Ukraine, which partially is going to be a mechanism to force Zelensky to go to the table and come up with an agreement with Russia, but also the fact that in light of this report where the United States can't even track where the money went or where the weapons went, certainly ties in with that. They want to find out what exactly is going on there. And we've had reports over the years of a lot of the weapons that go to Ukraine are sold on the black market, and they're showing up all over the world. So we know there's corrupt Ukrainian officials and even corrupt Ukrainian military that are cashing in and sending these weapons to hotspots all over the world. So Trump is correct in the sense that everything about Ukraine aid needs to be reviewed, and let's see what the reality is. And also bear in mind something I've mentioned before that most people know now, that a lot of this money that goes to Ukraine just comes right back and gets paid to the U.S. military and arms manufacturers in the United States. So that it's not like the money actually went to the Ukraine. It's just credit for weapons. So once again, it just adds to the complications of trying to track where the money and the guns that go to Ukraine go. But the real bottom line for me, of course, is just the absolute corruption of Ukraine and the fact that a lot of that money is being siphoned off by oligarchs, including Zelensky himself. And so for him to come out and say that he doesn't know where the money went, well, that's partially true. He knows where a lot of the money went. And so when he talks about only 75 billion has showed up, we can account for another 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 billion of U.S. money that went to Ukraine, and we can track it back to Ukrainian officials and Zelensky and their corruption. Good example of that is Zelensky himself only makes $664 a month as his wage, and yet somehow over these years he managed to buy a villa in Italy, an estate property in Britain that used to belong to King Charles. He bought houses for both his parents and his in-laws, He owns a yacht. His wife has an apartment in London, and he also has properties all over the Mideast and Cyprus. And so there's no surprise that a lot of the money can't be tracked because Zelensky obviously has a hand in the cookie jar, and all the other powerful people in Ukraine do as well. And we've seen plenty of examples of that, generals and oligarchs and industrialists, and everyone in Ukraine is having a free feeding frenzy on the money being sent to Ukraine. And if that ever comes out, um, it will be pretty damning. But in the meantime, of course, it's a great bargaining chip to get Zelensky to the table, and he has to get to the table. They basically run out of soldiers. They talked about lowering the conscription rate and the like, and trying to get more troops in the field, but it's not going to save them. It's already over. But once it's over, of course, all the Western powers will move in to exploit all the assets in Ukraine that they use as a bargaining chip, and we'll probably never know where all the money went and how much of it was siphoned off. But by all appearances, all the movers and shakers and the upper echelons of Ukraine society are suddenly far, far wealthier than they used to be. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?